Welcome back to my channel. My name's Phoebe. I'm autistic and ADHD. I've had a lot of requests to make more of these accommodation style of videos and in getting more ideas around how to work with rather than against your own neurodivergence disability and just make your day-to-day a little less exhausting. I don't know that I have a whole nother list of 50 ready to go for you, but I thought we could instead go through a whole day together and find more accommodation habits tips that I do that way. As always, take what serves and leave the rest. So each morning I use a sunrise alarm clock and my phone's alarm to slowly wake me up. Midweek my phone alarm goes off at 6:10 and then I give myself another 10 minutes before I actually have to get up. I really need a graduated wake up with help from pillows to get me vertical. Otherwise, I feel really sick, anxious, and lightheaded. I make my bed, put thick socks on, I prefer them instead of slippers, and then go to the bathroom. I realised filming this there are a lot of things I do in the bathroom to accommodate myself, like covering my ears when I flush the toilet to muffle the noise. It is really loud. I generally hate cold showers, plunges, anything like that. I don't believe they are a kindness to female nervous systems, but because I wake up so warm, even in winter, it's fine because my face has so much body heat in it anyway. I recently got a shower chair upon recommendation from my OT, and while I'm meant to be using it in the shower, I'm honestly preferring using it when I'm brushing my teeth, flossing, anything that requires you to stand still. I find I do a much better job of said task if I can sit down while doing it. Like, I won't rush it, I take my time, because I'm not in a position that, especially in the morning, can make me feel faint. Also, having my legs bunched up is great for blood returning to your heart, and also anxiety. I remember a dentist saying to me once, bringing your knees up can really help with not gagging when doing molds for orthodontics. Wild. Anyway, it helps me. I do my skincare so that has some time to sink in before any makeup. My motto this year is to not have a scarcity mindset around sunscreen. And so far, I'm using more than I was, so that's a win. Sometimes I massage my face a bit if it feels stiff, but I'll learn how to do lymphatic drainage properly one day in the future. Then I go and do my usual morning stretches with the fan on as it was quite humid on this day. I pick out what I'm going to wear. These bike shorts offer a bit of compression which helps with dysautonomia POTS-like symptoms that I have. They are just a little too high-waisted for my preference though, so I fold down the waistband so they come up just below my belly button, the sweet spot for not making me bloated throughout the day. My hair was really tickling my neck on this day, so I pinned that up with some bobby pins. I have all my makeup in this sweet little pouch my grandmother recently gave me, and then I pop this sardine keychain on, which totally clashes, but makes me smile. I put blush really high on my cheeks, A, because it's cute, but B, because I also usually need to blow my nose in the morning. It's probably a histamine thing, and that way the tissue doesn't rub any of it off. So I take my meds and also put some clips in my hair to hitch my fringe a little off my face. The humidity crossed with itchy skin on this day was a recipe for my hair to be giving me sensory overwhelm. Then I go downstairs and say good morning to Merlin, who greets me and asks for pats in the exact same way, in the exact same sequence of body parts every morning. I open the blinds, prepare his breakfast, and then lather myself in insect repellent, one that is fragrance free, and it's this cream that goes on without any sticky residue, thank God, because I ain't getting no flesh eating borreliosa, which is around where I live, although you do have to be unlucky. I've shown my breakfast a million times on here. I have an egg on toast with a little mayo, mustard and Tabasco sauce with chocolate peanut protein powder in coconut and almond milk, all of which really helps my ADHD meds get well absorbed. After breakfast, Merlin and I head out on our walk. A cool side effect of ADHD meds I've noticed is that I have way more patience for Merlin sniffing, which is nice because obviously that's kinder to him, but also I don't have to walk him as far to tire him out now. I always wear some earbuds to provide some noise cancelling, but honestly I listen to music half the time these days as I did in the past, because having a quieter brain and a less anxious brain in the morning means I find less stimulation is more. I realise I stim the entire walk. I play piano in one hand, into my palms. I try to plan my walk so the sun is behind me on the way home. I'm not staring into it. And bonus points if on the way back it's downhill as well. Then when we get home, I scratch Merlin's head all over because I appreciate the harness makes his face quite itchy, especially in humid weather. Then he finishes the job on the rug and I have breakfast part 2, which on this day was homemade cultured dairy-free butter on fruit toast with a decaf coffee, which I do while completing a Sudoku instead of looking at my phone. Then I start transitioning into my work day, switching over my noise cancelling headphones and doing a bit of housework on the way to my desk. I remember hearing someone say cleaning and housework is the socially acceptable form of stimming for undiagnosed women, like throughout history. And since it's something that always has to be done, I certainly find it helpful to frame it that way as just something to do with my hands to help my brain out while transitioning between tasks. I then consult my to-do list, which I make the day before, wrap a blanket around me for some more blood flow support. Even if it's hot, I just put the fan back on. I try to eat the frog most days, doing the task that requires the most brain power in those first hours of the day when I personally feel the sharpest. Usually that's writing or editing. I try to remember to drink lots of water during that time, but that doesn't always happen because I'm focused, I'm in the zone. At about 10:30, I get up, put my shoes back on because they help me feel really awake, cross off any task on my list and head back downstairs to Merlin. I take him outside, he pees, we play my new favourite thing, tug of war, because I'm now strong enough to match him. So good. Then on this day I was looking after our neighbour's chook while they were away. I brought some corn for her because it's her favourite. She's 11, I think, and has outlived all her sisters by at least 6 years. We do have some foxes about, so she gets let out only in the fox-safe hours of the day. I then had some morning tea, did some more of my Sudoku. Usually Merle and I would have a cuddle on the couch before I go back to work, but it was pretty humid, so we didn't do that today. I went back upstairs, having made an iced tea with some salty electrolytes in it, handy for a hot day, then mustered the enthusiasm for getting back into it. Task switching, the bane of my existence, honestly, but it was actually kind of great. I spent some time with a piece for Overland, an Australian literary journal that I pitched to, I think 2 years ago now, but they are going to publish it 2 years later, so sometimes these things just take a while. Yeah, so I was just giving an edit to bring any viewpoints that are in it up to date to reflect present day me. It was very satisfying. I then switched to my loops and would have gone downstairs for lunch, but my mum had someone over, so I forced myself to reply to some messages while they were leaving, which I can find either really easy or really hard, to be honest. Hard when it's the making plans type of message and you have to figure out what you want to do and have the courage to put that idea out there, you know. But this position does seem to help with that. Maybe it's like comforting because there's something soft pressing into your belly. I don't know. Downstairs, I reunited with Merlin, then made a lunch you've seen me make loads of times. It's a carrot, tofu, kimchi, cheesy rice hash, but we didn't have any carrot, so I used capsicum instead. Not my favourite, but it did the job. I mainly bought this Sudoku book to do while eating lunch to help me eat slower and not go on my phone, and it's been so helpful for that. Highly recommend. Then I did some washing up, cleaned the kitchen because I was going to do some cooking that afternoon, and I can't really cook in an untidy kitchen. Spent more time with Merlin and read some of my book. I took my loops out and popped them in this little dish, which has been a saving grace for never losing them because I honestly can't be arsed putting them back in their little Loops branded case. Switched back to my Bose headphones and got all the ingredients out for making this month's recipe I'm posting to my website, which is nachos. Hyped myself up again and then got ingredient prepping, which annoyingly is kind of therapeutic once you get into it. I wipe down the board when I need to and package up any extra veg that I'm not using to freeze for later use. During idle kitchen time, I put my legs up on the couch to help with blood flow. Then when it was time to film, I put a hat on, even though I hate how hats feel and what they do to my curly hair. I haven't really figured out a way around that one yet, but it was hot and I was filming in full sun, so something was necessary. I set up my tripod, put Merlin in his happy chamber for his own safety. I promise he's not mad about it. He runs in voluntarily anytime anyone opens it. And with him out of the way, I can be quicker and not stressed about him eating something he shouldn't. It was very hot filming this, but I got there. I just bullied myself through it, lol, because I wanted to achieve the end result, and some things are worth discomfort. I really hate the feeling though of coming back inside after filming or photographing in direct sun because your eyes don't adjust immediately to the indoor light levels and it's very disorientating, a very gross feeling. Anyway, Merlin did the final check outside while I cleaned the kitchen for my future self. I planned the next day, took a shower to cool down and had dinner of reheated leftover nachos, which were looking a little sad an hour or so later, but still yum and meant I didn't have to cook. After dinner, my mum, brother and I played a few rounds of bananagrams, which has been our game of the summer and the best way to spend quality time with other people when you're too tired to talk. I did the washing up again because future self, yada yada yada. Then I really hit a wall. Having had a productive day while filming it all was really catching up with me, so I got my bed ready to hop straight into later, arranging my pillows, which I use for support the way I like them. I also brushed my teeth because that's so much harder when you're fatigued and just want to be horizontal. Usually I wouldn't stare at my phone all evening, but I was so exhausted I didn't have the spoons to task switch to something else, and I'd had a productive day, so honestly wasn't beating myself up about it too much. One thing I do to get vertical out of this chair in the evening, because I find that last transition of the day near impossible, is I try to transition out of the chair by propping myself up with pillows, changing my position gradually so I don't just go from sitting to standing. It's a good way also to like gradually persuade myself, talk me into going to bed. Like I'll tell myself, okay, you don't have to get up right now, but in 2 minutes, Phoebe, you're going to put a pillow under your butt. And then I kind of go from there. At around 10 to 9, I cover the time in my room because I don't need to be stressing about exactly what time I went to bed, and I don't like the light of my clock shining during the night. Then I stretch again, although I did need some encouragement, so I put on a song in my ears they played at the yoga studio I used to go to, and that gave me an energy boost to do those. Then I went downstairs to say goodnight to Merlin. I take him out to pee one last time. Yes, on the lead, because otherwise he just will not get up. Relatable. Then I try not to kiss his head a million times as it's so addictive. But how can he not? Like, he puts his head on my knee and often wraps his paw around me too. It's so stinking sweet. Then I close the blinds, try not to check the locks a concerning number of times, and head up to bed. I take any meds, then moisturize my hands. I was needing a moment to myself at the end of this day of filming, so I did do a brain dump after I turned the camera off in my journal, because filming myself all day had made me feel quite disconnected from myself and a bit anxious as a result. And that practice of writing everything down never fails in helping me identify what the problem is and move through it. Thank you for watching and being here. I always look forward to reading your comments on these types of videos, accommodations you do, ways you relate or don't, because we're all so different. I'm really looking forward to sprinkling in this type of content throughout 2026. I've got a few ideas up my sleeve, but for now I'll see you in the next video. Bye.